Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Professor Ipshita Bansal from BPS Women's University, Sonipat, Haryana. Today we will be discussing about the module Human Resource Development of the paper Strategic Human Resource Management. After studying this module, the students will be able to understand the functions and process of HRD, the principles of HRD, the challenges of HRD, and the role of HR manager to manage the organization effectively. Personnel training, management, and corresponding growth is an unabated phenomena, typically featured by three parts: paying keen attention to the development and sustenance of the workforce, utilization of the workforce to accelerate the aggregated output, and improving the standard of living by making the people benefactors of the increased output with a fair advantage of resources like education, expertise, etc. Even if an establishment procures the best of fixed capital including machines and materials, the distinction between an avant-garde establishment and a comparatively menial company is the human resources it has. The success of establishment totally relies on its workforce. HRD directly proportions the growth of the company with the growth of the staff. HRD is a continual scheme of enhancing the skill set and the standard of living of the staff to enable them for adapting to the ever-changing global scenario and the latest trends of the market due to globalization. All of these being in tune with the larger perspective of the company's growth. Human resource development focuses on helping the staff reach their maximum potential and carry out the duties assigned to them in an efficient manner, in turn benefiting the organization. It is a simple algorithm which maintains that investing in the growth of the labor force of the establishment leads to the growth of the establishment. HRD is a systematic knowledge enhancing process which involves syncing the requirements of the establishment with the requirements of each individual staff pertaining to their career graph. It also aims at integrating the behavioral aspect of the labor force with the cutthroat global scene. Regulations which are important for human resource development. The important rules to be followed when structuring the blueprint of the growth of human resources are: regulations of development of organizational ability. The utopic HRD system revolves around the growth of the staff and the organization in totality. The abilities in question encompass all the angles like technical, physical, psychological or moral development in a structured way. Regulation of reaching maximum potential. All the employees should be catapulted to tap their underlying potentials and utilize them to be abreast with the latest trends of the market and maximize their output for the benefit of the establishment. Third is regulations of autonomy maximization. Autonomy is the way of allowing the staff to take onus of particular tasks on their own and take related decisions depending on their abilities. An ideal HRD system should give the leeway to the employees to make their own routes so that they have a sense of independence and worth. Regulations of maximum delegation. Allocating the assigning duties basically implies shared tasks of the senior management with the junior management in order to develop an amiable and coherent working environment. Regulations of participative decision making. The junior management should be propagated to actively be part of all the firm's activities and tasks. An HRD system which is open to suggestions enhances this kind of system and is able to create a cohesive organizational behavior amongst the employees, instilling a sense of freedom and democracy. Regulations of alteration management. The only thing that is constant is change. Somehow, people overlook this maxim and are resistant to it. In order to outrun the competition, an establishment and the prevailing HRD system must accustom them to the idea of change, especially in the rapidly changing market scene of the 21st century. An ideal HRD structure should strive to balance out the changes in the establishment as well as changes in the culture. Regulations of continual assessment. Assessment and previewing of the HRD tasks like coaching and upgradation, structuring the career path, capacity to excel at work, expected raise in remuneration, admonishing advice to the labor force must happen on a regular basis in an establishment. The regulations stated above should be kept in mind while structuring the HRD manual, thus ensuring an accelerated proportional growth of the labor force in the establishment. An HRD supervisor should be deft to take care of major responsibilities and ensuring the completion of tasks in a structured, coordinated and systematic style. They have the onus of both completing and assigning jobs. Management of resources is typically characterized by 4 factors of integrating labor force, that is getting them, preparing them, activating them and keeping them. All of these are directly related to the efficiencies, abilities, perseverance and participation of the HRD personnel and senior management. In order for completion of tasks in important way, an HRD personnel is required to have some expertise, skill set, character traits, potential, vision and so on. This is essential as they carry tremendous responsibilities. Skills needed for the successful HRD supervisor. He must possess an optimistic view of life and work. He must be an articulate learner. He must be a patient listener. He must be perseverant and hold the fort till the outcomes of the organizational actions show results. He must be amiable and willing to help. He must have a motivation to initiate things on his own and have leadership qualities. He must be vocal and articulate in his speech and very principled in specific targets. He must be proficient in forming and keeping tabs on coaching practices, managing colleagues and the entire junior management. He should have an in-depth knowledge and overview of the system processes and individual coupled with group intentions. He should be abreast with all the HRD functioning at all times. Results of HRD. First, we should understand the results of HRD at the managerial level. The coaching accelerates the efficiency degree of the staff by refurbishing their skill set. Understanding level of the staff is increased, which in turn increases their performance in an optimized manner, bringing in effective results. The staff is completely devoted to the establishment as a sense of security and belongingness is instilled in them. team spirit and collaborative effort among the employees rise. A sense of trust and freedom to share ideas and suggestions is created in the staff, and following this, an acute sense of respect and the urge to bring in an amiable working atmosphere is put in place. Harmonizing and team effort generates alliance. The staff develops an enduring sense of confidence and is prepared to accept change. Benefits the employees by enhancing their cognitive skills and problem solving abilities. A sense of unity and collaboration is developed amongst the staff, which turns to be advantageous for the establishment. Results of HRD, that is human resource development at the national level. HRD brings about positive changes in human behavior, specifically in aptitude, attitude, values, beliefs, information base, and expertise. This also enhances pursuit of value in the society. HRD eases out the impending need on the non-static demands in the present world's forever dynamic scenario, like a rise in the competition amongst firms within and outside the current demography. HRD leads to the metamorphosis of the labor force into a growth-driven, energetic, and forcible group of people. HRD ensures the labor force is deft, unabated in their mission, and diligent in performing their duties appropriately in a systematic method. HRD creates an environment where the utilization of the knowledge, skills, and ideas of the employees take place for innovative, brilliant ideas to take shape. It ensures a dynamic economic development by providing a stable, amiable ethos of working, which directly leads to the upliftment and betterment of the country. It betters the rate of living at work and presents immense impetus for greater productivity and outcome. So, what are the hurdles in the path of human resource development? The unknown future holds a sense of mystique, excitement, and alarm too. Establishments brace themselves for conjuring scenarios and daunting, inevitable situations by keeping all resources on the go. It has been an age-old fact that the working force of any firm is the niche that separates the successful and the unsuccessful. Firms need a proper workflow that utilizes the resources and skills of the employees for the benefit of the organization. This is where nodal personnel in the labor force act as a pivotal part. The job calls for braving upcoming issues, embark on varied unforeseen jobs, and in thus help the establishment accomplish their missions. In what way can this be done? What are the hurdles an establishment might face in the ever-changing business scene? What plans an organization amends will aid in reacting to such hurdles? Henry Ford hardly knew that the assembly line twirling the path on the grounds of his modest establishment would embark the humankind on a vicious, dangerous journey. The untrue fallacies in humongous output and Herculean invoice processing are preposterously put aside in this client-centric, cutthroat economic scenario. Jargons in the lines of right-sizing, downsizing, rationalization, golden handshake have been owned by businesses while referring to the absolute number of employees. Manufacturing strategies such as flexible manufacturing systems, computer integrated manufacturing, enterprise-wide resource planning are gaining popularity in mundane establishments. One thing is certain, that in coming times would be plagued with hurdles and firms will have to face unprecedented reforms continuously. Let's now discuss the probable future trends. First is a fast change in technology. Technology is changing by leaps and bounds. Hence, the HRD carries the immense responsibility of training their personnel to be ready for such changes and equipping them with the related know-how. Multinational providers and clients need a facelift as their predefined roles might change to transformational roles in the evolving times. Violent contesting, globalization and the incoming of MNCs coupled with the fast technological variations, the indigenous firms embrace a violent contesting. One of the important hurdles of the HRD is to embrace this competition and overcome it. Adapting and innovating for survival. The human resource development is functioned with the development of the labor force by upgrading their skill set, expertise and technical know-how. All of this in order to come up with innovative, revolutionary ideas, bringing a paradigm shift in the present systems. Meeting the extensive demands of customers. The customer is giving prime importance in today's market. Products are manufactured keeping in mind the needs, requirements, desires and demands of the customer. The product must satiate the needs as well as be value for money. Next is mergers, takeovers and acquisition. The globalization opens the door to MNCs mergers, takeovers and acquisitions. As there is an amalgamation of cultures, ethnicities and predetermined sets of employees in an organization, the HRD department bears the responsibility to bring about a holistic growth plan for the staff. Next is greater product demarcation because of diminutive manufacturing costs. Substitute and complementary goods are abundant in the markets. The requirement is to bring innovative products at low manufacturing cost and make them available for the customers. Optimizing the production cost is a daunting task for the HR supervisors. Last is minuscule span of products and services. The time span when product services gains popularity is very short from the customer's perspective, as the legitimate span of a customer's memory is small. Challenges for human resource development. The first challenge is ensuring a sense of loyalty and trustworthiness. In present times, the work atmosphere tends to be very harsh owing to organizational policies of downsizing, firing employees, etc. In such a scenario, the remaining staff becomes anxious and nervous. The onus is on the HR officials to instill a sense of loyalty, trustworthiness and security in the staff. Second is bringing in the humane factor. In the last several years, the corporate world has witnessed huge attempts in bringing the empathy factor to the job place. The nearby future might call for the supreme attempts to form bonds which have been broken. Employees might have minimal face-to-face interaction due to state-of-the-art technological advances. Next is ensuring cohesiveness of diverse staff. One of the business plans is ensuring that the contingent workforce is kept at a minimal level. This goes in a long way in instilling a sense of ownership among the employees, thus producing efficient results for the benefit of the company. The assemblage comprises of consultants, specialists, project teams, part-timers, temporary appointees, etc. Then we come to dual income homes. Nowadays, both the partners tend to have a professional life. Human resource development needs to make sure that requirements individually as well as single entity is taken into consideration. An HR department that could provide an in-house free time activity, a travel manager and an entertainment advisor would be appreciated. Next is hassle-less immediate reply. The orthodox way of completing a long list of applications, of guidelines, procedures to satisfy a query in a secret manner should be done away with. All HRD functions should be transparent and open. The next challenge is individual attention. The trend is to tailor-make goods on the fancies and desires of the customers. Similar principles must be applied for the needs of the staff. Each staff member is made differently and thus will have different requirements. The HRD manager, instead of looking at policies in a universalistic way, should focus on the particular needs of each employee and form policies around them. Basic manifestos. The HR supervisors need to revisit the basic manifestos of policy making in order to redesign the policies for the plethora of cultures and mindsets of the workforce. The behavioral aspect has been overshadowed by the managerial aspect for a long time. This is one of the main reasons as to why the working of the human resource department is not given the importance it deserves. Last is the overview of surroundings. The HR personnel should have a thorough, in-depth knowledge of the internal scenario in order to take appropriate actions for developing guidelines. This requires the human resource supervisors to be abreast with the outside world via all possible means. Key for the success of the organization is the way they deal with both foreseeable and unprecedented upcoming changes. The establishment should be organized and systematic to survive the cutthroat competition. The precise needs of the customer can be met by the organization replying to the demands prior to the competitors. The system would have to be capable and flexible enough to transcend any message through all the levels of the workflow and create a symbiotic environment. In addition, the organization needs to have experienced employees for whom taking initiatives come naturally and pay attention to the knowledge acquiring process. So students, let's now summarize what we have studied in this module. The global scene has faced rapid changes over the years, particularly in the last 10 years. The aspects of liberalization, globalization, dynamism in technology, coupled with the variations in market, are reasons for the huge change in corporate scenario. Organizations needed to function and reply in an organized way to tackle the dynamism of change and come out victorious. The systematic, deft reply from establishment revolved from mergers and acquisitions to delayering. All the systematic plans have an effect on the people and have an aggregated aftermath on societies, systems and functionalities, pitted against the huge changes required in the way quality issues and problems are dealt with. So, human resource development activity become very crucial and challenging. Thank you.